and gentlemen, after what feels like an indefinite hiatus, welcome back to the Kings of the South podcast, an NFC South podcast. We are your hosts. I am Corey. That is my man in Cancun, Mr. TJ Hodges. How you doing, my boy?
I'm doing good, man. How's it going, man? Long time no
I
see.
know, man.
Long time no record. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
man.
saying?
It's been you know, we'll get into it. So I'll save it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Our fans have been clamoring for us to come back, and we're back now,
We
boys. You
back,
know what I'm
man, and
saying?
I ain't gonna lie. I got some shit I need to get off my chest, man. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. Like, dang, we started off the pod with a swear word. Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Yes, we are. Stay
One per
tuned.
video.
It's gonna be more than that. I ain't gonna lie. It's gonna be more than that. Um, yeah. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. Happy New Year to you
Happy
and
New
your
Year.
family.
You know what I'm saying?
Happy New Year. Happy Hanukkah, Christmas, and Thanksgiving, and
All that,
everything else
all that.
that
Yeah, since the
we.
last time yeah, man. Yeah.
uh, but yeah, I'm doing good, man. It's been a roller coaster of a 2024, but looking forward to this year and ready to get into some football talk because there's a lot that happened that we did not cover.
Yeah.
So,
Speaking of roller coaster, that's a perfect way to describe what came to be of the NFC South.
oh yeah,
Unless you've been living
every
under a
team,
rock,
yeah,
the back to back to back to back NFC South champions, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they did it
yep,
again.
yep,
Uh, and they did it in dramatic fashion with help from Kirk Cousins and Raheem Morris and the Atlanta Falcons, by blowing a 3-game lead in the division. And they finished the deal, man. How would you describe Tampa's season? Also,
tonight.
they about to play tonight. The Washington Commanders, Jaden Daniels. I've seen. I don't want to see Jaden Daniels for a long time. After
Yeah,
that game.
I mean we knocked him out of our game, but it didn't matter because Marcus Mariota carved us up. Um,
He exercised some demons that
yeah,
day.
made up some for some lost times.
Mhm.
I think it's very impressive what Todd Bowles did this year, what he accomplished with this team. I know there's a lot of Baker fans out there, and rightfully so. He deserves his flowers. Baker's been on a resurgence since he got in Tampa last year, and it continued this year. I mean, Dave Canellis left to be in Carolina as the head coach, and they didn't miss a beat. And in fact, I think they got better offensively because of the fact that this year was more of a focal point on the run game, which I think will play a precedent in tonight's playoff game against Washington. Bucky Irving is a stud, and Jalen McMillan, rookie wide receiver out of Washington, another stud from the old Pac-12. Yeah, I mean they just did a heck of a job just bringing in young talent. And, they had their moments this year with offensive line or secondary. Sometimes the pass rush wasn't consistent, but overall, I mean, Tampa Bay, one of the most high octane offenses in the NFL this season. So it definitely showed.
Oh yeah, it also helps when you have Baker Mayfield in the top 10 in the NFL on every statistical quarterback where
Yeah.
stats. Great year, another great year, another 1,000 yard season for Mike Evans. I mean, at this point,
Hall of Famer.
yeah, I mean, I don't even know why it was up for debate. He was a Hall of Famer before the season started, but
Yeah.
yeah, another great year for him. Uh, I don't know if he's gonna pass Jerry Rice. Um,
He'd have
well,
to
he
do it
will.
next season,
Well,
right?
yeah, yeah, with 1,000 yards, yeah, he'll probably do that. But
Yeah.
all the other Jerry Rice
Stats.
stats
Yeah. Yeah.
is yeah. For the younger folks, if you don't know who Jerry Rice is or how good he was, just go look up his not even his highlights, because his highlights, if you look on YouTube, he got a 2 hour a 2 hour long highlight reel. But just go look at his stats and you're gonna be like, I can't even do this on a video game, which you can.
Yeah. No.
Um,
and
Yeah.
Jerry played until he was almost 40.
Yeah.
So just like Brady,
Yeah.
well, Brady was past 40, but yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, Tampa Bay, man, and like I said, credit to Todd Bowles. I mean, a lot of people crap on Todd Bowles because he's old school, and his time with the Jets and what he accomplished there wasn't much, and he's just done a heck of a job in Tampa. I mean, honestly, and
Also,
it's
you have to give kudos to Liam Cohen in his first year as offensive coordinator there. He took
yes,
a already, like you said, high octane offense that performed well above expectations last year, and coming into the season this year, you might have had little bump, bump or two in the beginning, and then
yeah,
once they started rolling, even when they lost players, they still started steamrolling teams, man. And
hmm
you gotta, like you said, tip your hat off to them, man.
yeah,
Tristan Wirfs, All Pro, first team All
stud
Pro, the first player
first.
in NFL
hmm
history
Yep,
to be
to be
All
all
Pro,
pro on both sides.
both sides, left tackle and right tackle, which is insane.
Yeah, he's a stud.
Yeah, he's the best lineman in the league, man. I don't even think it's up for debate.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, definitely the best tackle in the league for
mhm,
sure. And pound for pound, I would say best offensive lineman, period.
mhm. I,
Just his ability to just control the line of scrimmage at his position, no matter what position he's playing, whether it's right or left. And he's still super young, which is just wild.
oh yeah.
Not many guys like him come into the league that play tackle the way he does. Joe Thomas was great, but Joe Thomas didn't play right tackle. Joe Thomas played left tackle his whole career. And so just what we're seeing from Tristan Wirfs is impressive. And, a lot of linemen don't get love nowadays. It's all about the wide receivers, the quarterbacks, the running backs, the tight ends. But kudos to Tristan Wirfs and the career he has had thus far. So,
And shout out to Tampa Bay Buccaneers as they prepare for their home playoff game against the
yep.
Washington Commanders. Uh, how do you think that game's going to turn out?
So, I was watching Bo Nix play today, and obviously Buffalo's a different team than Tampa, but just the rookie wall that happens when you get into the playoffs as a rookie quarterback. I think that will be a factor tonight. I still think Jaden Daniels is going to have a good game, but I have Tampa winning that game, probably around the lines of 31-24 or 34-31, around that. I think it's going to be a high scoring game. Um, but I got Tampa winning just because I just think them playing in Tampa, I think that factors into it, the home field advantage for that game, the crowd. So I got Baker and them pulling it off.
Mhm. Um, I'm going to go with my guy who I pounded on the table for almost 5 years,
Yeah,
Jaden Daniels.
Arizona
I,
State days.
yeah, a lot of people say, oh, quarterbacks. He really is different. He, I can't explain it. Don't get me wrong. I watched some of the highlights, but I never watched a complete Jaden Daniels game because I'm always watching my Falcons or a divisional rival. I'm watching their games, trying to see how we're gonna, what should I expect for the next week. That Atlanta Washington game, man, he was unguardable.
hmm
He was unguardable,
Yeah,
and at a certain point, you can see after that first quarter interception, you can see Cliff Kingsbury go, "Wait a minute, we playing Atlanta. They can't they can't handle a mobile quarterback. This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna
yeah,
use RPOs. We're gonna call design runs. We're gonna move their linebackers, get them out of the way, get them out of the picture, make them commit one way or the other, and we're gonna pick apart this defense. And that's
yep,
what they did. And don't get me wrong, we should have won that game, but Jalen Daniels, man, Jaden Daniels, drive down the field. And that's
yeah,
why I think it's going to happen tonight. It's going to be a close ball game, like you said, but it's going to take one drive from Jaden Daniels, and they're gonna pull it out. I'm gonna say 37-34. Last second field goal wins it.
I can see that. Yeah, yeah. I think the over under is 62 and a half
Smash it,
points
folks.
scored.
smashed you over,
Like
folks.
it's gonna be over that, in my
Yeah.
opinion. I'd be very surprised if it was a 17-14 kind of game. Just both offenses are very good, and both secondaries are not that great. Um, so I'm expecting a shootout.
Well, from one high to a low.
Yeah, we
Uh,
had to get the good stuff out the way. Give Tampa their flowers.
yeah,
They won the division again. They're in the playoffs, but the rest of
mm,
the NFC South,
yeah,
with
yeah.
the Atlanta's a little different, but the bottom two, ugh, you
Well,
know,
well, 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 well. We'll get into that. Let's talk about these New Orleans Saints.
yeah,
Because this is the only team I feel like their fan base is kind of
lost.
like hopeless.
Hmm.
Like I'm not saying that they're like they're a bad team, but they don't
Yeah,
have anything to look forward to. What's going to change from this season to next season? Because now, well, unless you've been living under a rock, Dennis Allen was fired.
thanks
The
to thanks to Bryce Young.
hey, you know what I'm
Bryce
saying?
Young got a lot of people fired this year, by the way,
Hey, hey, had to be done.
and cut Daniel Jones.
Had, had to be done, man. So the head coaching search is underway. Well, I guess I'll take that back. Maybe, with the right coaching staff, you can feel hopeful. But at the same time, I'm
Yeah,
talking about
maybe.
from a player standpoint. Who are you
Yeah.
bringing in, especially with the salary cap being the mess that it is? I, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I don't know how Mickey Loomis is still employed by the Saints, bro. I don't get it. I don't get it. Like,
Yes, I want to chime in on that because I personally I don't understand either because for me it's like now's the time to just start fresh.
mhm,
You don't want to keep Mickey Loomis in there another year and then you fire him next off season. That doesn't make any sense.
mhm,
Bring in a new GM, new head coach, start fresh. I mean, you're going to have a lot of issues. I mean, this job to many across the league, from what I've heard, is that it's very unappealing. Like, yeah, they have a top 10 pick, but they have no draft capital, or I'm sorry, no cap space.
mhm,
It's already been reported that Derek Carr is not willing to take a pay cut.
of course.
So that's up in the air about what they're going to do with Derek Carr. I'm assuming he's going to be back next year just because of the money they owe him. And for me, it's just like, who's going to go there and want to coach that team? That's a high profile coach. You're not
The,
getting Ben Johnson.
yeah.
Ben Johnson's not going to New Orleans. That doesn't make any sense. Right
The,
now, I would guess that he's going to the Raiders if I had to have an opinion on it. But I mean, what, Joe Brady maybe from Buffalo because maybe he wants to be a head coach?
the only the only person I can think of that New Orleans have a realistic shot of landing is someone who played there before,
Aaron Glenn.
Aaron Glenn,
Yeah.
Detroit
That was my
Lions
second
defensive
option.
coordinator. I feel like he's the only one who would go play. I mean,
Yeah.
go coach there. He knows New Orleans. New Orleans knows him. I feel like it would be a storybook type of coming home story. Now, with that being said, those usually don't work out in the NFC South.
Yeah.
Shout out to Frank Wright. But I will say, I like what Aaron Glenn can do in New Orleans. That defense is already a top-notch unit. You get someone like him calling the shots on defense. It can only improve. He's a player's coach. Guys love him. Now, the offense is where the offensive line is a mess. What is Ryan Ramczyk doing? Is he going to retire? Is he going to come back? Is he going to play? We don't know.
Yeah.
You busted on what's my
Trevor
guy?
Penning.
Trevor Penning.
Hmm.
You busted on him. Cesar Ruiz is declining, and
Decent. Yeah,
yeah.
he's decent.
Now you do got Fuaga, who I like.
And you got Eric McCoy, which I still think is a very good center in the league.
Mhm.
But their hands are tied in any direction you put it. The lack of cap flexibility, and I know they'll find a way to get under the cap and meet the requirements by March. But it's just this job's not very enticing, and they have so many needs. Offensive line, wide receiver. They need a quarterback for the future because I don't think Spencer Rattler's it.
And that's
Defensively, they've gotten way older, and they just need to start over.
yeah. And that's another thing. They need to solve the quarterback position.
Yeah.
Um, who I feel like they are out of position to get a top quarterback unless they settle on a prospect who should not be drafted that high, like a Jalen Milrow or something like that. Which I hope not. But
Yeah.
you
I mean,
know,
Jackson Dart, maybe in the second round, late first.
but I mean, you do that. That's Spencer Rattler. What I mean,
Yeah.
is it really moving the needle like that? I don't think so.
I mean, Jackson Dart's a better talent, I would say, than Spencer is at quarterback. But I also think, too, it's just not going to be a game changer for this franchise. No offense to Jackson Dart, but if he was that good, he'd be a mid first, top 10 pick, especially being a quarterback. I don't think he's that good to be a needle mover, and I don't think he's a franchise quarterback. Um, and that's the problem. I mean, you're going to have to go into the season with Spencer Rattler and probably Derek Carr. And I think that's what you roll with. I mean, I don't know any other way around it. And they have to put in other positions of need financially and draft capital wise. I mean, they have a top 10 pick, so they could use that on defense.
They would have to. They would have to, unless for some unforeseen reason a quarterback slips. Or I
Hmm.
mean, I mean at this point, it would be so New Orleans to try to trade up to get one of these quarterbacks. Um, I don't.
I don't see it.
The
I
draft the
just,
draft begins in Cleveland. I will say that the draft
yeah,
starts in Cleveland. Um,
yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm trying to find a silver lining here. Alvin Kamara is getting older. Ain't no telling how much longer he got in the tank, or if he's even coming back next year.
Well, they
Um,
did re-sign him during the
yeah.
season. They signed him to a 2 year extension,
I
so
mean,
he'll be there for at least another year.
I mean, you can trade him. You can trade him.
I think
Uh,
that would be a mid-season thing next year.
I think, and also I think the most important storyline coming out of New Orleans is something we don't even talk about. Chris Olave's health. Like
Yeah.
this man suffered what two to three concussions this year. I want to say two for
He's
sure.
he's had at least three in the last 2 years.
Yeah, but if I'm not mistaken, he came back from one this year, and then
Hmm.
he got almost knocked unconscious in like
The
two
Carolina
two
game.
yeah, 2 weeks later. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's something they're gonna have to take notice on,
Hmm.
and they need so much, man. They need some more playmakers on the outside. They need a playmaking tight end because I like Jawan Johnson. He's cool. He's all right.
He's serviceable.
Yeah. They just need more. They need more playmakers. And with
Yeah.
the salary cap in the state that it's in, it's going to be damn near impossible to do. But
Hmm.
we say that every year, and every year they kick that can down the road.
Yeah, but
Um,
I think this year is where it stops. I mean, you got to. You gotta just focus on a rebuild. I
I
mean, at
mean,
this point,
bro, if they didn't do it when they had two first round picks, they're not going to do it.
it was a different time back then, though. Look at the structure and foundation of the team right now. They fired their head coach. Chris Olave is up in arms. Who knows what happens? And then record wise, this is the worst record they've had in years. I think this is the tipping point for them, and I think that's what you're going to see this offseason. I think they'll play it safe for certain aspects of their roster building this offseason because they have to. But I think next offseason you'll see a bigger push towards a full rebuild. And that's going to be the hard part. I am very intrigued to see what coach they bring in there.
I was going to ask you, who takes this job? Like seriously, who takes this job?
It's got to be Aaron Glenn. It makes the most sense. He played there. He's been with the organization before. I don't see Joe Brady going there because he's not going to have his chance to get a quarterback this year. And I don't know if he wants to go to that big of a mess his first year as a head coach. I don't see that. I think Aaron Glenn's the best guy for it
Mm-hmm.
because of his discipline, his accountability, his ability to coach guys up. I think
I'm
it's the best case scenario for that organization.
I just don't want this to be another Jerron Mayo, Lovey Smith type situation where you give this man a shit, like a pile of shit, and have him try to turn it into a meal.
I think it's going to be different only because Aaron Glenn has proven himself as a DC. No offense to Lovey Smith, but Lovey Smith was washed before he went to Houston.
You
Nobody
hold
really
your
wanted
tongue.
him.
You hold your
Nobody really
tongue.
wanted him.
Lovey Smith,
I love Lovey Smith. When he was in
he's
Chicago,
going down. He's going down in
he
the
was a
Black
great
Head
coach in
Coach Hall of
Chicago.
Fame. Okay, it's not a lot of us, but
Yeah,
he's one of them. Okay.
I just I think it's a different situation personally. The success Aaron Glenn has had in Detroit, I think he'll be given that leash because of the fact that it's just a different coach. He came from a different background. He came from a winning organization where he proved, especially this year, with the amount of injuries that Detroit has had, and that defense is still top 10 in the league.
Man, what they did to Minnesota, it was an
Yeah, it's
absolute
impressive.
masterclass. It was a
It's
masterclass,
impressive.
man.
And that's why I say that you're gonna see Aaron Glenn get a bigger threshold of leeway with first year head coaches. And I just don't see any way that they would get rid of him after 1 year unless he just had an atrocious season that was just he lost the locker room. I don't see that happening with him.
From one low spot to, I guess it's still a low spot in the grand scheme of things, but your Carolina Panthers, man, it started out rough. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I thought we
We
were gonna go 1-16.
we were both like, Bryce, brother,
Hmm.
go ahead. We need to, go ahead and apply for Home Depot, man. Something, Uber,
Hey,
be a,
and
go get your CDLs, buddy. That's what we
dude,
were
I mean,
saying.
you remember back then you go on Twitter and there was just so many memes about Bryce Young working at McDonald's and
Mhm.
yeah.
And, like I don't think people understand how drastic of a turnaround this was for Bryce Young.
Yes.
Bryce Young was on pace to having the worst statistical quarterback season in NFL history.
Yeah. They called him a bigger bust than Jamarcus Russell. That's not just us saying
Yeah,
that.
it's not
Because
hyperbole, folks. This was like it was
no.
proven. It was like on a trajectory.
Yeah. And for me, as a true Panthers fan, and people will say what they want. Yeah, okay, first off, I bought a Bryce jersey last year before he even played a game. You can ask Corey this. He knows the whole story behind it. I have been a huge supporter of Bryce Young since day one. Now, I will say this season, I got frustrated. I got sick of seeing what I was seeing. He played scared. He played with no confidence. He was turning the ball over left, right, and center. His first throw of the season was a pick.
Hmm.
He played awful. Adam
Hmm.
Thielen, Deontay Johnson, Xavier Leggett, they were all getting irritated and frustrated playing with him because he just was not playing well. Fast forward to what, week 8, week 9?
Hmm.
And from then on, he had over 20 touchdowns rest of season. The guy only turned the ball over like 7 times, 8 times rest of season.
Yeah, his only bad game was the Cowboys game.
Well,
In
his
my
worst game, the
Yeah,
Cowboys
that
game.
was the only one. I,
He
you
almost
know,
beat Kansas City. He almost beat Philadelphia. He almost beat Tampa Bay. He beat Atlanta. You know, we could have beat Denver had we had just more manpower. It's just Denver
mhm,
playing in Mile High is already a tough place
yeah,
to play.
yeah.
Just so many games that we should have won that we didn't, and just so much positive to take away from the back half of the season. It's just been really impressive the way he's turned himself around.
Um, Kudos to Dave Canales and Dan Morgan, man. He took what was
Hmm.
the weakness of that team and made it into one of the strengths with their offensive line. The offensive line, for the most part, is fixed, man. Uh,
Yeah.
outside of Icky just needs to continue to improve his craft. But other than that,
Yeah. I would
maybe
say center is
maybe a
a
center, but
question.
hell, you can I couldn't tell.
Cade Mays,
Yeah, I
so the reason center is getting brought up a lot by a lot of Panthers fans is because Corbett's a free agent, Cade Mays is a free agent, and Brady Christensen's a free agent. Brady Christensen's already said that he's going to test the market. Brady Christensen could play tackle, guard, and center. I think he's gone. I don't think he'll be back because he'll get paid by somebody. Um, and I think for Carolina, I would re-sign Cade Mays because he's younger. He stayed healthy pretty much his whole career since he's been in the league. He was drafted by Carolina, then cut, was on the Giants practice squad, and then he signed during the season this year and played center rest of the season to fill in for Corbett, who is unfortunately just injury prone at this stage of his career. And I think unless he's willing to come on for a cheap deal, I don't see us re-signing Austin Corbett. But yeah, I completely agree. Though I think the offensive line is a strength, and they finished top 10 in the league in most statistical categories for offensive line, all across the board. So very, very impressive. I think Dan Morgan is really putting together the focus of what a football team should be. I think you got your quarterback.
Mhm,
I think you got your offensive line.
mhm,
We got to figure out wide receiver because there's some question marks about that.
yeah.
And you definitely got to attack defensive positions at all
Well,
levels.
we gonna get into that, but first, let's show some love to your boy Chuba, man, who was
Oh yeah.
one of the bright spots of this team, man. He finished as a top 10 rusher and yards and touchdowns. Unless you watch Carolina, unless you live in this
Hmm.
state or you watch, like I guess you don't know how good Chuba Hubbard is until you watch him play your team.
Yeah.
As for me, like I said, we live in North Carolina. We know his games are always on. We know the type of runner
Yeah.
he is. But I can't tell you, I cannot tell you how many Philadelphia fans or Cardinals fans or all these other teams, when I go to work, they're like, man, this Chuba Hubbard, he's a player, huh? I'm like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, you didn't know. This is your first time watching
Yeah.
him. Yes, he's really, really good. He's hard to
Oh
bring
yeah.
down. He run with power. He got light footwork. He got good enough NFL speed.
Hmm.
He's really good, man. And
Yeah, he's put on some muscle too.
yeah, I'm glad that he got paid this season, and I'm glad he's starting to get the recognition that we all seen him have.
Oh yeah. He very deserving. I mean, he was a fourth round pick out of Oklahoma State. I mean,
Matt
Matt
Rule,
Rule,
he
yeah.
got it right.
Matt Rule's wife, thank you.
Yeah,
His wife is the one who told him to draft Chuba.
yeah,
And yeah, it's very impressive the progression that Chuba had from his rookie year to now. He used to back up Christian McCaffrey, and now he's the best running back we've
yeah,
had since Christian McCaffrey. And that's not a
yeah,
slight at him in any way. I mean, he had a hell of a season. And
yeah.
if it wasn't for some injuries, and then obviously us being out of the playoff picture, I mean, Chuba probably would have had every
Some Pro Bowl recognition.
yeah, every
Uh,
right to be in the Pro Bowl, and
yeah,
he potentially could have broken the single season rush record for Panthers runbacks.
now let me ask
How
you.
that
Let me ask
Go ahead.
you just one little nitpick.
Hmm.
Do you feel like the way that Chuba has performed kind of sours how you feel you guys utilized your second round pick last year on Jonathan Brooks?
No. So with the way the league is nowadays, and I mean, yeah, obviously you have guys like Saquon, um, Jonathan Taylor,
Say
certain.
it. Say it.
Well, okay, so I
Say
know what you're going to say, but the reason I'm not mentioning Bijan is because he has
mm,
Tyler Algier to back him up. And I think it's a duo system that works.
yeah.
Look at Atlanta. I mean, perfect example. Tyler Algier on any other team, he'd be a number one running
Oh yeah.
back. I
Well,
mean, we
yeah.
both know that.
Yeah. He's gonna
And
break the bank when he hits free
yes,
agency. He's
yes,
yeah.
Atlanta's not going to be able to re-sign him because he's going to
Yeah.
want to get paid.
Oh yeah.
So for me, I don't regret it, but I will say it's unfortunate that Jonathan Brooks tore his ACL again. I mean, he's such a talented kid, man, and I understand that they gave up a second round pick to get him and this, that, and the other. But at the end of the day, you can never have enough running backs. And when you get that kind of talent in your locker room, it's hard to pass up. It's just unfortunate that he's just had bad luck thus far in the NFL, and then obviously on the back end of his college career, this would be his second ACL surgery back to back years. So very unfortunate. I don't regret it though. I think overall you need the talent in the locker room. You need it in the running back room, and you know, spoiler alert, I believe with how great this running back class is, I think we need to take another running back on day three, in my opinion. Not day two. I wouldn't say day two. I feel like this class is
Well,
deep enough
wait,
that
don't
you
you
could
guys have
do.
multiple day two picks?
We do. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see.
Depends
Hey.
on who's there.
Yeah. Hey.
Yeah. So we got the bright spots out the way.
Hmm.
Let's go. Let's dive into the abyss, brother. The Carolina
Okay.
Panthers defense.
Oh yeah. So let's backtrack 1 second. I just thought of
Okay.
something. So we're talking about bright spots, right?
Mm-hmm.
Another bright spot that we did not mention
Mm-hmm.
and we failed to mention is someone that I have 110% supported since day one and never changed my narrative on it.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. JC Horn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mr. JC Horn.
Yeah.
Me and
Pro bowler.
Corey,
Pro
me
bowler.
and Corey have gone back and forth on this for
Mhm.
at least the last 2 years.
Oh yeah.
And I have consistently said that I think he is a future All Pro. I think he's a future Pro Bowler. I think he's a number one corner. And it just so happens that this offseason is his first chance to get a contract extension. Now, Patrick Surtain, who went after him in the draft, Carolina passed on Surtain, took JC Horn. He's already getting paid.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of the highest paid corners in the league.
He is the
And,
highest paid.
sorry, the
Yeah.
highest. Um, I think with the season JC Horn had, I think he's going to get paid. I don't think he's going to make more than Patrick Surtain. I think he'll be right below him. But hey, I'm proud of the season he had. He missed 2 games to end the season,
Mhm.
which it was irrelevant. It's kind of
Yeah.
like Chuba Hubbard. If they really needed him, he would have been out there.
Mm-hmm.
But in that situation, you're already out of the playoff picture. Your record is what it is. Why risk further injury to a guy that is a cornerstone of your defense? But J.C. Horn's going to the Pro Bowl, and I just like to say that I was right.
Hey,
I was
look, man,
right.
look. Everyone, we knew the talent was there. We knew the talent was there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
But
look who his father
yeah,
was. Joe Horn was one of the
yeah.
best receivers in Saints history.
But the best ability is what, TJ?
Availability.
Yes, and for the most part, he was not available this year. This year, he finally had, the injury guys on his side, and he was able to stay healthy. And not only stay healthy, he was able to play at a high rate, a high
Hmm.
level.
On a bad defense.
Yeah, when he was allowed to travel,
Yeah.
Evero,
Which,
when he was allowed to travel, Evero, he can do it. Evero, give him a chance, Evero. Like,
yeah.
all right, so yeah, this is as good a time as any. Let's talk about this Carolina Panthers defense, man.
Yes. Historically atrocious.
Yeah.
Most points given up in a season by any defense in NFL history. And they kept Evero, which is surprising to me, just because of how bad we were. And it just statistically, we took a drop from, last year. And obviously, there was more talent. I get that. But I don't know. I'm just surprised. I didn't expect him to be back. He was already here prior to Dave Cannell's getting here. But, I get it. He's just trying to be, hey, we don't put full blame on you because the lack of talent, the injuries, et cetera, et cetera, et
Yeah,
cetera.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Just to piggyback, that's an important part of it for folks to remember. Derek Brown went out, at
after week
beginning
one.
week one. He went out. You
Yeah,
lost Shaq Thompson.
yeah,
I mean, I know, surprise, surprise, I get it. But
yeah.
you lost, what, Trevin Wallace? Is that his name? The linebacker, or Trevin?
We lost him probably week 14, week 13, around
Okay,
there.
I'm trying to give you some hope, some benefit of the doubt, brother.
But I mean, well, I mean,
And
in fairness, there's a lot of rookies starting on this defense and a lot
yeah,
of inexperienced players. I mean, and not a
mhm,
lot of talent, not a lot of depth, not a lot of manpower. I mean, Ashawn Robinson had a good season.
yeah.
J.C. Horn had a good season. Josie Jewell was a serviceable linebacker. Jordan Fuller got deactivated late into the season because he just wasn't
You
a fit.
you remember we thought that was going to be a great signing,
I
and
know. It did not turn out that way, and that's surprising too, because him
mm,
and Avero were together in L.A.
yeah.
So unfortunate, but it is what it is. And I will say overall, I think that is the focus of this off season. It's got to be overhauled.
To
You got
me,
to get
yeah, yeah. To
you got
me,
to get more talent in here.
it's defense and pass catchers. That's it.
Yes, yes,
Nothing else matters.
yeah, I agree.
Who's the people you have your eye on, whether in the draft, free agency, or
So the rumors and rumblings I'm hearing right now, and obviously it's January, it's early. Free agency doesn't start till March 13th.
hmm
Um, but Javon Holland is one that I'm hearing. I I've been hearing safety is the big focus in free agency. So then the draft they'll address the pass rush. Um, so Javon Holland for me is a big target when it comes to defense and free agency. Um, Draft wise, I mean, I have five names: Mason Graham,
hmm
Abdul Carter, Will Johnson. I'm not even going to list Travis Hunter because he's not going to be available. Um, I would say James Pierce Jr. from Tennessee
hmm
and probably Jalen Walker from Georgia. Um, I'm not too high on Mikael Williams. Not that he's not talented, but I think I'd rather have Jalen Walker because he can play multiple positions more so than Mikael can. Jalen Walker can play off ball linebacker and edge rusher.
hmm
Um, and then also, too, I mean, wide receiver, I think free agency or via trade, we need to go get a true number one. Can you draft one in the first round of this year i.e., Tedro McMillan, Luther Burden, Emeka Ibuka.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Ibuka played like a number one.
he did.
He played like
He
a number
reminded me
one,
of
man.
his counterpart, or well, I didn't play together, but he reminded me a lot of Chris Olave.
hmm
I just think Olave has more speed,
hmm
but I could be wrong. I don't know what
Yeah,
Ibuka's 40 time is going to
He
be.
looked fast.
Hmm.
What was it, last night? Night before
Hmm.
last? When
Yeah,
they played Texas?
Friday night.
Yeah,
Friday night.
he looked good, man.
Yeah,
He shocked me. I'm not gonna lie. That's for
yeah,
another show though. But yeah, I can
yeah.
see him fitting in your offense.
Hmm.
I can see a lot of
So
players fitting.
yeah, and for me, it's like I would rather address wide receiver through free agency or trade, just because I would like to use that top 10 pick on the best defensive player available. Um, but, you know, whatever we can get our hands on, I just
hmm
think, like you said, pass catcher, pass catcher, pass catcher
hmm
has got to be a focus. Bryce Young, I think we would have won more games had we had a better receiving core. I mean, the Philadelphia game, if it wasn't for Xavier Legette dropping that ball, we would have won.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's like that needs to be a focus from Dan Morgan and Dave Canellis. He knows what he had in Tampa. Dave does. He had Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Go get you something similar to that. You have Xavier Legette, you have Jalen Coker. They're both young, and that's where I say trading for a wide receiver or signing one in free agency will probably be a better fit because you already have two guys who were just rookies this past year. So I don't know if you want to continue that youth movement or do you want to spend some money to go get a veteran who is a proven commodity? So, I mean, even if you trade for one like a Garrett Wilson or a Tyreek Hill or whatever, you're still going to have to pay them. So that's the other part to this. So, but yeah, I mean, I think defense is the number one focus, but pass catcher is 1A, 1B. Like it's super important, especially in
Yeah,
this division. I mean, you look at all the top teams, Atlanta and Tampa. I mean, they can score with anybody. So
no. Great segue, buddy.
yeah, yeah.
My beloved Atlanta Falcons. This is gonna hurt me, but everything I'm about to say needs to be said. This is the most disappointing year. I think this is even more disappointing than 28-3 because at least with that you can say, well, Tom Brady's one of the greatest. So, well, he's the greatest of all time. So, I
Yeah.
mean, he willed that team
You
back.
got beat by the goat.
Yeah, we gave this away. We
I
gave
was gonna
this.
say that.
We
I was gonna say
gave we
that.
gave the division away.
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins, first half of the season, decent, great
Yeah.
even. Playing well. But even while he was playing well, there were certain things that you will notice about the team, and we talked about it.
Hmm.
You notice we're running a lot of plays out of the pistol. You notice we're not doing any play action. You notice
Hmm.
that we're not rolling out. Kirk Cousins is very gingerly getting to his drop back. You notice that the ball doesn't have any zip on it. You notice that we're not even taking any deep shots. The defense don't respect us because they know Kirk Cousins don't have the arm strength and to get the ball downfield because he cannot put any weight on his back leg, on his right leg.
Yeah.
And it showed up at the worst possible time. We were 6-3 in the division, 3-game lead, and we pissed it away.
Hmm.
Where Kirk Cousins going on one of the worst 4-game stretches I think I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And a lot of people want to say, well, the defense was playing bad. During that 4-game stretch, the defense was playing amazing.
Yeah.
In particular, the the Los Angeles Chargers game, when we held that offense to 181 yards total offense, and we sacked Justin Herbert 4 times,
Yeah.
and we lost. We lost because we could not score points. Kirk Cousins threw some of the most boneheaded red zone interceptions I think I've seen since Desmond Ritter. um, man, the only saving grace about this team, because I was wanting to fire Raheem Morris, I was wanting to fire Terry Fontenot. I wanted to start
Yeah.
fresh. But the only saving grace we have on this team to make me hopeful, make me willing to say, all right, let's hear him out,
Yeah.
was drafting Michael Penix Jr.
Yep.
If we did not have him, we'll be screwed. Like
Oh yeah.
point blank, it's over. If we didn't have him, we're screwed, man. This team with all the young weapons, we need the right trigger man to take this team to the next to the right direction, the next step, which is getting into the playoffs. I thought Kirk Cousins was going to be able to do that. He did not.
Yeah.
I know Michael Penix can do that. I've seen enough tape. I've seen it. I've seen enough. He's the real deal. Um, Now, where do we go from here? A lot of people saying, "Oh, we should cut Kirk Cousins," and yes, ideally we should
Yeah.
post June 1st. But the money is guaranteed anyway, so even if we don't find a trade partner, um, oh wow, touchdown Philly.
Yeah, I
um,
just seen that. Sorry, folks. We're watching
yeah,
playoff
this
football
is
while
this is gonna be
recording.
a beatdown. This is gonna be a beatdown.
I hope it
Um,
is. Get
yeah,
AJ Brown a touchdown.
yeah, um, yeah. This team has underperformed.
Yeah.
It hurts. This was a hurtful season, man. Like just the amount of stupid things that happened with
Yeah.
the Kirk Cousins interception, with the Raheem Moore's not calling timeouts in critical game
Yeah.
points.
Situations.
Yeah, it's just
And then he kind of made a mockery of it after the game. And it was just kind of confusing to me from a guy who's been in the league a long time, like Raheem has, to just have the lack of awareness, knowing that he's been a head coach before, knowing how important and pivotal that game was for you guys to win. And he kind of cost you guys the game. Like, I know we can sit here and say Jaden Daniels this, Jaden Daniels that in that Washington game, but there was moments where Raheem just didn't react the way a coach should. And it's just pivotal to the future of what he can become with Michael Penix, Bijan, Drake, the Terry being GM after next season is also pivotal in this aspect because I mean, I could see a scenario where if this doesn't play out the way it needs to, you got everything in place except for the proper front office people. Um, and I'm not foreshadowing anything. I expected more from Raheem, being this is his second chance as a head coach, and not many guys get second chances. You and I have discussed this in depth on phone calls. It's a situation where Raheem really needs to get it right next season because he really dropped the ball at the end of the year. And I said this to you. I texted you one day. It was on a Sunday during the games. And I said, why isn't Michael Penix starting sooner? And I said that
mhm,
probably about 4 weeks before he even became the
mhm,
starter.
mhm,
And as a Panthers fan, I was just blown away because I'm like, dude, like, just see what he's got. I mean, at the end of the
mhm,
day, I get it. You paid Kirk Cousins all that money. You want to know what? Seattle Seahawks paid Matt Flynn a butt ton of money too. Not as much as Kirk Cousins, but they paid him a butt ton of money for Matt Flynn to come to Seattle. And what they do that year? They drafted Russell Wilson in the third round, and then Russell Wilson was the starter the whole year. So at the end of the day, yes, you spent the money on Kirk, but if the dude's playing bad, you got to make the best decision for the team. That's what Dave Canellis did with Bryce Young week 3 going into the Raiders game. And Andy Dalton got named the starter last minute. We
mhm,
won that game, and it just so happened we went back to Bryce after some stuff that happened with Dalton and his family. But you just expect more from Raheem considering the fact that he's been here before. So I'm curious to see how you guys flow through the offseason into next year. I do think you should trade Kirk Cousins for a day 3 pick. It's going to have to be a day 3 pick just
we
because
can't
of the
get more.
salary.
Well, no. Well, technically, he's only fully guaranteed for this year, 2025. And
Right.
even with that, he's going to count $27 million against the cap. So that is average
Yeah. So
starting money.
I'm just saying, I'm curious to see what team is willing to pay a
Yeah,
portion of that. So
yeah.
that way it's not
I
all in
think I think
Atlanta.
we'll I think if we can get a draft pick, we'll pay it all.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think, but I don't think we're gonna be able to get much of that. Yeah, man. I think with Raheem, man, I think what could be his Achilles heel is he is too loyal. He is loyal
Hmm.
to a fault.
Yep.
He loved Kirk Cousins, and he was like, he's our guy. We're gonna let him play his way out of it. While most head coaches would have saw the writing on the wall and said, you know what, we're going to the rookie.
Yeah.
Just like with, our former defensive coordinator, Jimmy Lake. It was apparent that he was in over his head. He didn't know what he
Yeah.
was doing. He kept having our defenders play off on. I've never seen a secondary play off coverage on 3rd and 2. What the hell are we doing? 3rd and 2, and we're playing
Yeah.
6 yards back. What are you calling?
Yeah.
And you can tell the moment Raheem took over the defense, which I know they won't say publicly, but you can tell he took
Yeah.
over. After
The
that bye
difference.
week, where we were top 5 in the league in sacks and pressures and turnovers, You can tell. And that's the type of thing where, like you said, you've been here before. You lost your job before. You should
Hmm.
be, you know what? If I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna go out on my own. I'm
Yeah.
taking it. You're not performing the way I want you to perform. So this is what we're doing. I'm taking over the defense. I'm calling the plays, and that's just what it's gonna be.
Yep.
Um, Now, with that being said, like I said, former defensive coordinator, I think Raheem is starting to learn the error of his ways. We fired Jimmy Lake. We
Yep.
fired defensive line coach Jay Rogers. Now, it will really we'll really find out a lot about Raheem with these next hires. If he hires someone who he's worked with before, buddy, instead of the best guy for the job, we'll see. Me personally, I wouldn't mind. I know people saying Robert Saleh. You need to get that out your head right now. He's not coming to Atlanta.
No.
Why would you go to Atlanta? You can go back to San Francisco or somewhere else, or you can go anywhere else. Why would you come to Atlanta?
Yeah.
For me, I would love to see, Steve Wilkes. I doubt we'll do it because he's a 4-3 head coach. We're a 3-14 now. I would love to see Brandon Staley. I would love to see, in some capacity, hear me out. I would love to see Dennis Allen as the
Yeah.
DC.
I could see that.
And I would love to see him bring back um, our former defensive coordinator, Ryan Nielsen, as the defensive line coach. I would like to see that.
Yeah.
It will fill a need. Um, Now, will that happen? I don't know. I would like to. I'm not putting my cart before the horse anymore with this team, man. I said we were going to win 12 games. I said we were going to win the division and win a playoff game. And right when my prediction was looking good, the team shut down their legs. Just took a massive shit just all over their legs. Just like baby diarrhea shit, just all over their legs. The moment was too big. Kirk Cousins turned into a pumpkin. Yeah. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the season, I mean, week 18, Bryce lit y'all up for
yeah,
5 touchdowns.
44 points to the Carolina Panthers. And I'm not saying that as disrespect, but outside of
I
Adam
mean,
Thielen,
like, you're
who
not
the
wrong,
fuck is
though.
your
Like,
receivers, bro?
you're
Who?
not wrong.
David Moore scored a touchdown. David Moore haven't scored a touchdown in like 4 seasons, bro. What are
And the
we
crazy
doing?
part is we fucking trotted out. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. We
Hey, let it out, bro. Let
freaking
it out.
trotted
Let
out
it out, bro.
Mike Boone and Raheem
Mike,
Blackshear
and they was
and Velas
pounding us.
Jones. Velas
Village
Jones was a
Jones, bro,
backup running back for that
bro.
game. Chuba Hubbard didn't play.
When I saw Raheem Blackshear take a 20-yard run up the gut, I was like, oh my God, we in for it. This is not good. When I saw
Oh
Jatavius
man.
Sanders pick up a 30-yard bomb, I'm like, oh no, this
Tommy
ain't gonna be good.
Tremble and Bryce had a moment of
Yeah,
the
we're
of the
yeah, we're memed now, bro.
uh,
We're meme
you're
again.
memed.
We're
Bryce had a
meme
no look pass.
we're memed
He just
again, bro. Like
he stepped away. He threw the ball and just turned his back already before it even got in Tremble's hands in the
Ar-
end zone.
Arthur Blank, man.
Ugh.
Dead ass, bro. Aren't you tired of this? Atlanta players, aren't you tired of this? Aren't you tired of being a laughing stock? Aren't you tired of people saying, "Oh man, it's the Falcons. The Falcons go Falcons." Ain't you tired of that? I'm tired of it, bro. It's 2025. We still hear 28-3, bro. We still hear it. You know why? Because we haven't done shit to get away from that. We're the same goddamn team we were then.
Yeah.
Always making mistakes,
Yeah.
always doing dumb stuff at critical moments. We're not disciplined. We don't play as a unit. What are we doing? Aren't you tired of it? We haven't had a pass rush since John Abraham, and that was goddamn 20 years ago, bro. We haven't had a pass rush since then. Don't bring up the Vic Beasley year. That was his insanity run when he had double-digit sacks.
Jack
We had
McKinley.
I'm so tired of it, bro.
Remember Jamal Anderson from Arkansas?
You know I remember him. Why him, Ray Edwards. It was
Oh man.
I'm,
And
I'm tired, bro. I'm tired. Atlanta, come on, man. It gotta be
can
one of
we
these years, right?
can we talk about another elephant in the room when it comes to Atlanta?
It's
Kyle Pitts, man. Kyle freaking Pitts. One of the most athletic football players coming out of college I had ever laid eyes on. And this man was a top five pick. He was drafted ahead of Jamar Chase. And man, man. I've said to Corey numerous times, I don't want to hear the excuse that he's top 10 in tight end numbers and this and that. He, being a top five pick, needs to be a game wrecker, a game changer, a difference maker. He's just not. I mean, I thought week 18 he was going to have a big game because I'm like, Carolina doesn't have J.C. Horn. There's no Shaq Thompson. Mike Jackson is decent. Our safeties are okay. I thought for sure they were going to pick on our secondary with Kyle Pitts and Drake London all day. I knew Bijan was going to get his numbers because our run defense is the worst in the league. But man, this dude, week in and week out, for the most part, was just silent, non factor. The Washington game, probably the best game I've seen him have all season. Just from my watching, I know I didn't watch every game and this and that, but to put up top 10 tight end numbers, and he's a top five pick, very underwhelming. And I just think it's time to move on. That's my personal opinion. I'll leave it at that. I understand that, yeah, you spent a top five pick on him and you want to give him another year, blah, blah, blah. Nah, man. I'm done. I'm done with the argument of Kyle Pitts.
Kyle Pitts has been a massive disappointment.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
I can admit that, but also we can't move on. We have no better options. We have nothing.
Go get Tyler Warren.
We're not taking him 15 overall when we need a pass rusher, man.
Take Tyler
And I don't know if this is
Warren.
much of a
He's
spoiler or
your
a
George
shocker.
Kittle.
I don't think he's going to be there at 15. If I'm being honest,
I agree. I think he's going to go top 12.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
we need something. What we're doing isn't it. Kyle Pitts, I feel like I'm the girl in the relationship, and I'm defending my boyfriend, and he just he treats me like shit, and I'm just telling all my girlfriends like, you just don't understand him. He's really a good guy. You don't know. He's under a lot of pressure. He's not usually like this. Like that's what I feel like. Because I defend this man more than I've defended any Falcon, honestly. I've never defended
Yeah.
anyone like I defend Kyle Pitts. And
You have been committed, dedicated, and loyal for way too long.
I'm tired, but you can't help who you love. I'm hoping,
This is
if
worse than
I
Brian Brom.
you know, I stand by that. I stand by that. If he was given the opportunity, he could have thrived. But I'm not going. That's 25 years ago. Was it what, 20 years ago? 10, 20, almost. It got to be
It
at
was
least
like
20.
I think it was like
That was the
2000.
Aaron Rodgers draft.
So like 2008,
Yeah, almost 20 years
like
ago.
19
Yeah,
years ago,
yeah. Look,
or
man,
sorry, 17, 17 years ago.
20 years ago. Yeah, almost 20 years ago. Look, man, the talent is there.
Yeah,
I'm sure
yeah,
he's going to be a star.
he's a great guy.
I just don't know if he's going to be in Atlanta anymore. I don't know. I hope, but I don't know. I don't know. Um, the only thing I can have a glimmer of hope on is that with Michael Penix in the fold, we're going to start using a more vertical passing game, and that's something that Cal Pitts game is predicated on. Um, maybe we should not have him out wide as the X receiver. Just have him in the slot, or I don't know, just have him as a fucking inline tight end. Call me crazy. I don't. Shout out to you, Arthur Smith.
Oh man,
He's gonna be where you at now. He's on his way.
yeah.
All right, so yeah, Yeah, that's enough of those damn South. They deserve more of my time. We're in
Oh,
full off season mode, folks, which means we're going to be coming at you more often with things we hear, rumors, our draft big board. I think we should do our top 10 players in the upcoming draft. I would say
oh
20,
yeah,
but 20 is going to take like 4 hours, bro. Let's just do 10.
yeah. I do top
Yeah,
10, maybe 15.
I can do 15. I can do
Let's do
15.
15.
I can
15.
do
Let's
15.
let's give some more content to the people.
Okay.
We do have a lot of ideas and content things we're working on, and hopefully this off season is the start of getting back on track. I know this year has been rough for both of us. This football season has been rough for both of us personally. So we've had a lot going on, but glad to be back, man. Glad to be recording and looking forward to making more content with my boy Corey and giving back to the fans who have been loyal and keep on asking me and Corey to record and when we're going to drop another video. And hey, I got this idea and that idea. It's great to hear these things because it shows people care, and it's just comforting to know that we have a small little following that actually cares about the videos and content we make for this podcast. So I'm glad to be back and looking forward to the future.
Absolutely, man. But before we get out of here, you know what time it is, man.
Pour one out.
We got to pull one out.
You got to pour one out, man.
I feel like I would have pulled one out to my boys, but I'm just gonna say the Miami Dolphins, man.
Oh yeah.
We gotta pull one out, man. Um, you're about to lose Tyreek, possibly. I feel like he's gone.
I feel
You
like he's gone.
you're
Yeah.
probably gonna cut Jalen Ramsey. You
Yeah.
overpay for starting lineman who only plays like 6 games a year.
Yeah. Armstead.
Yeah, you pay the most injury prone quarterback in the league.
Yeah.
And you're in such cap hell, you don't have enough to pay to keep one of the best safeties in the league. So yeah.
Yeah. It's Jesse
Also,
Bates situation.
yeah, also if your owner has to come out and say, "Yeah, we're gonna keep Mike McDaniel," that means Mike McDaniel's on the hot seat, bro. He
Hmm.
is on the hot seat next year.
Yeah.
I don't know what they expect, but yeah.
If they don't make the playoffs next year, he's out
Hmm.
100%. And
Hmm.
also, too, I want to pour one out for another fan base because they need to be mentioned.
Hmm.
The Cleveland Browns, man,
Ooh.
brother. So there's reports out there that surfaced a few days ago that apparently Deshaun Watson, some way, somehow, had a setback on his torn Achilles recovery. Apparently, he tore it again. And now he is more than likely going to be out the whole season of 2025, which means Cleveland's going to have to go get a quarterback to be serviceable, to sell tickets, to put butts in seats, and to
Kirk
give that
Cousins,
fan base.
Kirk
I was
Cousins
going to
threw
get to
500
that. I
yards.
was I was going to get to that.
He
I was going
threw
to get to that.
500 yards, man.
So Kirk Cousins and Kevin Stefanski have a relationship, okay, and they have ties together from their time. Was it back when he was in Washington? I
Mhm.
think Stefanski was there as a coach. So I could see Cleveland doing that, but Atlanta's going to have
Oh,
to help
and
financially.
Minnesota too. He was in Minnesota too.
That's right. Yeah, Minnesota.
Hmm.
That's where it was. Yeah.
Hmm.
So, yeah, it's insane, insane. These two franchises, but more so Cleveland, because Cleveland they gave that guaranteed contract to Deshaun
Hmm.
Watson,
Yeah.
and kudos to our teams,
Hmm.
Atlanta and Carolina, for realizing that hey, this guy is not worth all that guaranteed money because now we avoided another 10 years of mediocrity and we have our quarterbacks. I
Hmm.
have Bryce Young. You guys have Michael Penix.
Hmm.
We're set.
Hmm.
Cleveland, you're down bad.
Yeah,
And we're pouring one out for you. You're getting the
you
double
down
whammy.
bad, yeah.
You're getting the double
And
whammy.
while we at it, it's a new segment I thought of earlier this week. Once I heard the Deshaun Watson news, every now and then you hear something, you see that someone has this gotten this amazing deal that seems too good to be true. and it
Hmm.
turns out that they robbed the team.
Oh yeah.
Um, so this is our first installment of the Finessers Hall of Fame. Deshaun Watson, you will go down
Yeah.
in the annals of history as one of the greatest finessers of all time.
Oh yeah.
You are our 2025 inductee, our inaugural class. You were up there with John Gruden, who finessed the then Las Vegas Raiders for a
Yeah.
whopping $100 million 10-year deal. You
Yeah.
also joined one of the very first finessers, Matt Flynn, who we previously mentioned, who got that mega deal out of Seattle. Also in this inaugural class, Brock Osweiler, when he
Oh,
finessed the Houston Texans.
they literally traded him just to get the
We get the
cap
cap off.
off. And they traded him to Cleveland. Remember that?
I do
The Texans
remember
traded
that.
him to Cleveland.
Uh, uh,
Oh my goodness.
Albert Haysworth, he's in there for that, for what he did to Washington. It's just all time, just a master class, a who's
Namdi
who's of.
Asomugha,
Oh my gosh,
he went
ooh,
from Raiders to Philly, and then he
Philly,
was awful in Philly.
yeah, yeah, just a complete master class of finesse, and like they got their go jackets, man. So, but Deshaun Watson, this is on you. You did something that is unprecedented. You got a fully guaranteed contract, man.
I'm
Kudos to you, brother.
curious, bro. I'm so curious. You think he sabotaged himself
Why
to
wouldn't
re-injure? To re-injure?
I mean, I don't think so, but also if I was him, why wouldn't I? I get paid regardless. I don't give a shit what happens in my health.
I don't
I
think
don't
he
have to
wants to
play
be
anymore.
here. I don't think he wants to play in the league anymore. I don't think he wants to be in Cleveland anymore. I think he's been done, especially after they cheered after he tore his
Mhm.
Achilles the first time.
And you're hearing all these reports of how he's not showing up for team meetings and he's showing up
Yeah.
when he does show up, he show up late. He don't watch film. He's other places instead of focusing on his craft and trying to get better. You can just, I mean, I never want to question a player's effort and their heart, but you can watch him play
Yeah.
and you can tell he does not give a shit.
No,
He
he
doesn't
doesn't.
give a shit.
He doesn't.
I got $230 million fully guaranteed. I don't give a damn, folks. I don't
Hmm.
care. I don't care. I'm with my
Yeah.
girlfriend and we're in
He's
Cabo.
set for life.
Yeah. So yeah. Just an absolute masterclass of finessing. Deshaun Watson in 2025, Vanessa
Yeah.
Hall of Fame inductee.
Finesser Hall of Fame.
God
Yeah.
damn. Yeah, man.
Oh man. Well, looking forward to tonight's game. Hopefully it's a good one. And definitely looking forward to some future podcasts this coming week
Oh, it's
with
coming.
some more interesting topics among these NFC South teams.
Yeah, because
I'll
we
be
got
very
to,
curious to
yeah,
see who goes to New Orleans.
yeah. We got to review the Bucks game. So yeah, we
That
gotta
too.
we gotta come back for that.
Also, too, shout out to Mike Vrabel getting the job in New England where he played his whole career. So,
There's some finessing on afoot. I can sense it. This may not go well for them, but shout out to Mike Vrabel. Get that money.
hey, man,
Bring in your guys, man.
bring in your guys.
Yeah,
Shout
man.
out to Drake May. Hopefully, he has a good
Mhm.
coach that he can win. I mean, New England hasn't been good since Tom Brady and Bill Belichick were together.
Let's go,
So,
Josh McDaniel. Let's go. Let's go.
oh, yeah, I'm fully expecting Josh McDaniels to go to New England.
Yeah. Well, folks, thank y'all for being with us, while we were on our extended hiatus. We're
Yes.
back now. We hope you can, stick with us, I mean, hell, you stuck with us this long, so we back now. So you might as well keep riding with us. Keep liking, subscribing. Check us out on Twitter, Instagram. I'm sorry, not Twitter, X, Instagram, you know, Facebook, wherever you get your podcast, TikTok. Wait, we don't have a TikTok. Well, are we gonna have a TikTok next week? They're
Mike,
banning it. I don't know. Well, either way, folks, check
Why
us out
not?
there. Check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your podcast from. So continue to rock with us, folks. Till next time.
Peace.